Welcome to GESARA for Dummies. It is the 4th of April 2025. Let's look at today's news from Professor William Liebenberg. Please like, share and subscribe. Join our Telegram group in the comments below. Also, see in comments attached links. Thank you. Let's go. The GESARA law, unstoppable defense in space. The U.S. Space Force's massive platform launches to crush satellite threats with unprecedented power. The U.S. Space Force is poised to transform space defense with the development of orbital carriers, offering rapid deployment capabilities to counter escalating threats in the increasingly contested domain of outer space. Orbital carriers are set to revolutionize space deployment with on-demand launch capabilities for rapid response. Gravitix, Inc. has secured significant funding from SpaceWorks to develop this ground-breaking platform. The initiative aims to provide the US and allies with a strategic edge against emerging threats in the orbital environment. The Strat-Fi program accelerates the transition of innovative technologies to operational use within the Space Force. You need to know how Space Force fits into the following as a brand new world is about to burst open. In the past few months, Elon Musk's posts about farm murders in South Africa have reached hundreds of millions of people on X around the world. Thank you, Elon, for using your platform to highlight this heartbreaking situation. The world is finally paying attention. South Africa, April 4th, the day the people are rising up against the corrupt government. National shutdown, Cyril must fall. The Defend South Africa movement has organized a march to the Union buildings in Pretoria on that Friday, starting at 10 o'clock. The circulated message from the Defend South Africa movement contains several threats, including the claim that key figures are holding secret meetings to push for an interim president, with names like Malema, Mbeki, and Motsepe reportedly available for the role. The message warns that any actions contrary to the people's governing policy will not be tolerated, with severe consequences if demands are not met. It threatens widespread unrest, including disruptions at airports, ports, transport services, and even violence towards non-complying taxis, with claims that they are controlled by the so-called Stellenbosch mafia. If these demands are not adhered to, the message states that the country could face total destruction, with further escalation planned for April 7th if the April 4th actions do not yield satisfactory results. He, Ramaphosa, is a deeply compromised person who will only lead our country to further decline, suffering, and instability. We demand his immediate resignation and call for new leadership to restore hope, economic stability, and effective governance. The South African people are exhausted by a pathetic, incompetent government. If pro-communist globalist-controlled Cyril does not re-sign, the blacks will burn South Africa to the ground. Riots in South Africa are unlike anything in the world. All rationale gets deleted once they start their war dances. Further, the ANC moves to destroy South Africa's private security industry. New legislation from the police minister seeks to further restrict security firms, limiting access to handcuffs, tasers, and firearms in churches, malls, and other public spaces. The same criminal, illegitimate regime that crippled South African police service is now determined to disarm those who uphold the law. Question: is this part of a larger, more sinister agenda? With this, they really piss the Boer off. Do you begin to see why the Afrikaners want their own American-approved and promised homeland? A whites-only town in South Africa, Orania, wants Trump's help to become an independent state, 30 years after rejecting black majority rule and carving out an all-white enclave. On top of all this, the minister in the presidency is openly dishonest about things that were discussed during the meeting between AfriForum and the police. The minister in the presidency is misrepresenting the applications submitted to the U.S. Embassy in South Africa. Nowhere were the people who submitted applications for resettlement referred to as commercial farmers, 67,042 registrations of all Afrikaners. Interests were filed. The 72,000 number is plucked from the air by the minister. The ANC regime is doing its best to poison the discussion and muddy the water by injecting fabrications. Then a serious blow to South Africa. U.S. President Trump has imposed 30% tariffs on South Africa, calling the country one of the worst offenders. A lot of bad things are happening in South Africa, Trump said. Note: South Africans want extreme individual sanctions on every criminal leader spanning over all the political parties in South Africa. It is the only solution. Freeze all their money and travel and court-martial them, period. This is how rich these South African criminals are. The Seven Kingdoms. The Evergrande report in itself will be responsible for the global housing market collapsing by 80%. Remember, they are the ones who have been used as a Mossad, CIA, MI5, Soros, Lord Malloch Brown front to fund all of your rigged elections worldwide, not just the USA. Think Dominion. Evergrande has ties to Rio Tinto and BHP in Australia. It is the Titanic. It is owned by Vanguard and BlackRock. Not only does it take down Bitcoin, Ethereum and USD, it does so much more. EO 13848 and 13,959. The report will drop when it is intended. They had auditors doing a full audit of Evergrande and all of its subsidiaries in the past months. They had a deadline 3 weeks ago to release the report but have held it. Obvious it will drop when they need it to. Taiwan independence means war. China. Army poster for Taiwan op. Closing in. Sinister moves of Taiwan separatists. Courting disaster upon themselves. China has just launched massive military drills around Taiwan. Army, Navy, Air Force, and rocket units deployed. Serious warning and effective containment of Taiwan Independence separatist forces. It is a stern warning and forceful deterrence against Taiwan Independence separatist forces, and it is a legitimate and necessary action to safeguard China's sovereignty and national unity. Chinese troops conduct Straight Thunder 2025A long-range live fire drills in the East China Sea, practicing precision strikes on simulated port and energy facility targets. Chinese jets and bombers perform Thunder Strait air drills, including tanker refueling over the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan scrambles jets as Chinese vessels are seen on exercise close to the island's coastline. I warned you in the 64 markers. That sums up your Friday news. Have a great weekend. See you tomorrow.